I see them every day. I was here. They're just the whole place is like a ghost town all of a sudden.
Inside this mini storage facility was a massive counterfeit goods operation, according to authorities, something that was fairly obvious to Greg Zuman, who rents space here.
This place was just a beehive, and it was crammed, and it was jammed, and it was insane, and it was crazy, and it was busy.
Authorities say there were shelves brimming with purses, wallets, and accessories, the kinds of things sold on Canal Street or Fifth Avenue.
I think they got some of the bad players that were warehousing this and supplying it to many, many individuals that work on the streets of New York but don't pay their taxes. They actually are hurting our quality of life.
Well, you know, we had to have this story this week. We are in the holiday season. It's after Thanksgiving, after Black Friday, after Cyber Monday. We're well into the Christmas season. Scary as that. The year's almost over. But, you know, we hear stories like this, and I think the Feds does this at this time of the year because, you know, this is when they can catch them. But they should be doing this earlier because the way this particular story ended up. You know, in New York City, when you go to Chinatown, or even if you go into the dollar store, you find fake items. You know, you might, like, you go to the dollar store, you might find Crest toothpaste, a fake version of Crest toothpaste, or Duracell battery, or a particular shampoo that the names are shuffled, the letters are shuffled around so they wouldn't be sued. But I wouldn't use some of this stuff, especially the batteries on there. I would not use those at all. You know, you can end up, you know, look what's happening with all these electric scooters and all that, all the fires. Those batteries come from out of country, especially places like China, which doesn't have UL regulations. They just built the battery and that's it, and they ship it out. You know, no safety features on there. This is why we've had so many fires. This is the problem with our country, that we're buying too much from countries that do not care about safety, how they build their items, where the materials come from. The other half of it is clothing, shoes, handbags, briefcases, jewelry, perfume. You know, we see this stuff and we see a lot of fake stuff, and you say, well, you know, I could save a little money. Yeah, you can, but is it worth it? But according to this article, and this came out back on November 16th in the New York Post, Fed sees $1 billion in fake handbags and shoes from the New York City storage unit in largest counterfeit bust in U.S. history.
That's a lot of nuts!
Now, I saw a couple people in comment lines, and they say, well, how do they know it's $1 billion in there? Well, you know, understand is that they estimate what they charge for these items. And, you know, of course, boxes on the side has counts. They have to count every one of these things. How many are in each case on that? In this case, this was a lot of pallets. So let's read into this. A storage facility in Manhattan was the site of the largest counterfeiting goods seizure in U.S. history, as authorities on Wednesday unveiled a sprawling collection of phony designer merchandise that will be the envy of any socialite wannabe. 2 men were arrested in the operation, in which a whopping $1.3 billion worth of fake handbags, shoes, clothes, and other accessories were stored away in boxes on cluttered shelves in units at a Gotham mini storage, the U.S. Attorney of the Southern District of New York in a news release. Surprised they're doing something, you know, besides prosecuting ex-presidents. About 219,000 Fox items were recovered in the joint investigation conducted by Homeland Security Investigations agents and the NYPD. Adam Sal, 38, Abdullah Jalla, 48, allegedly ran the black market operation out of the storage facility from January through October, the feds allege. Jalla is also accused of peddling counterfeit goods out of another off-site location in Manhattan, prosecutors said. As the defendants used a Manhattan storage facility as a distribution center for a massive amount of knockoff designer goods, U.S. Attorney Damon Williams said in a statement. The seizures announced today consist of merchandise with over $1 billion in estimated retail value, the largest ever seizure of counterfeit goods in U.S. history. Photos released by the U.S. Attorney offices showed units filled to the brim with thousands of counterfeit high-end handbags of every color and design. Some clothes were hanging off pipes in one room. Another photo showed dozens of unopened boxes on pallets lined up in another. Sal of Queens and Jala of Manhattan were charged with trafficking in counterfeit goods. Ivan J. Arvello, the special agent in charge of Homeland Security investigations, New York, used the arrest to illustrate the potential harm that comes from buying luxury brand knockoffs. One purse might seem harmless, but the production and sale of imitation products is far from a victimless crime, Arvello said in a statement. We will not allow opportunists to convert public warehouses into their own illegal shopping centers or to wreak havoc on the streets of New York, nor we rely on our efforts to combat transnational criminal organizations smuggling these items through our borders. If convicted, the pair could face a maximum of 10 years in prison. The trafficking of counterfeit goods is anything but a victimless crime, but it harms legitimate businesses, governments, and consumers, NYPD Earl Caban said in a statement. Today's indictment shows how serious the NYPD and our federal partners take to this offense. And the thing is that you have to understand, I know you like saying, well, I don't like, Nike when they make it overseas in these factories with the kids and stuff like that. Guess what? These fake items are made in those same goddamn factories. This is why there should be a push to return most of our manufacturing back to the US of A. See, there was a time and place where we were top of the line when it came to manufacturing goods. What happened? Change in government policy, causing people to push their companies outside the United States to work with places like Mexico, Thailand, India, China, Malaysia. I mean, no offense. Some factories do make a nice product to the situation that does last. But the situation is most of the products on here, especially a lot of the heavy fake goods, are not well made. They're not within U.S. law standards. Understand this. For example, the clothing, the dyes may not be legal in this country. It could be flammable. Same thing with the handbags and stuff like that. There are laws in this country for a reason when it comes to manufacturing, and guaranteed none of this fake stuff is within U.S. legal standards. It's obvious on there. This is a continuation, and the thing about it is, some of this stuff fuels terrorism, sex trafficking, human trafficking, because you don't know where this money is going to. Drug, fentanyl, the fentanyl drug issue, the cartels, China, especially if it comes out of China, it's funding a government that basically has put people into slavery, concentration camps, re-education camps on there, the things that they've done to people in that country. This is a situation where people need, you want to save a couple bucks, that's fine. You can find, if you go carefully, and there are websites that have already been opened up that will direct you to products made in the US of A. Well made, well priced, that you can get. Remember, companies like New Balance, even though New Balance, a couple of their sneakers are made overseas, most of their other product are made in the US of A. Why do you think gentlemen like me, we love our New Balances? Because they're well made, they last, they're really good. And people say, oh, that's an old man shoe. No, go take a look at their styles. They got some great looking styles. The thing is, their most popular styles are the bulky leather. Believe it or not, and I'll tell you this, when I used to work in retail, one of the most popular shoes out of Nike, and I'm not talking the Jordans or anything like that, it happens to be this type of shoe that is similar similar to the New Balance line. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you certain companies, it's not made for old people or something like that, people that don't have style. It's made for everybody. All these companies make shoes for everyone. I've sat down with manufacturers in my day. When I worked for one company, I've sat down with these manufacturers. I've given my 2 cents. The company that I used to work for used to love me going to, they used to have these conventions where the manufacturers show up and they would show their wares. Sometimes it's at a hotel, sometimes it's at a convention center. I was always invited. The head buyer of the company knew my name specifically. Even though they were out of the West Coast, they knew my name because they knew my knowledge of the business at that time period. They knew what my customers want, what I wanted from my customers. And in most cases, they got what it is. They always tell me, what do you need for that? Well, this should be a little bit wider. This should be a little bit taller. And the manufacturers listen to me on that situation, because the next year when the product comes out, they say, hey, look at this, madman. Look at the shoe that you helped build. And they would thank me, and the sales would be very good on there. Most people say, well, why didn't you get in the shoe business? That was just a side job for me. It's when I do my job, I do my job well. That's the thing. That's the thing missing from our workforce, is that basically people do cheap jobs these days, that they don't go out 100%. Both me and my wife, we give it our all when it comes to working. The job my wife is in, they love her. They want to clone her 100 times, because basically, what she's done to their business is just a massive increase because of the style of how she handles the customers, which basically prior to that, it's like, here. They just throw things at the customers. She takes care of the customer. That's the thing you have to do. You're making money for the company. And you're like, it's all a bit corporate thing situation on there. Think about the small guy. Think about the smaller company that manufactures the basic product that China has stole a ton of off of smaller American companies. The reason why we don't have that many smaller companies like we used to is because China stole a lot of the product, made it even cheaper. When you only spend a couple of bucks on the product, where say like the American version spend $10-$20 for the product to manufacture the product, this is where the problem begins. Which is better, the China product or the American product? The American product is going to beat it out every time because of the ingenuity of it. And this is what we were in the past. The manufacturing, the factory levels, we made great stuff. Now, it's all this Fox stuff on there. So tell me in the comments below your thoughts about this. I mean, hey, listen, do you buy fake stuff? Most people do. Most people do these days on there. They want to save a buck. I can understand that. But if you do your research well, you could find a better performing product out there. That's what I do. When I purchase something, I look at country of origin, I look at how it's manufactured, what are the comments on there? And I don't do it from one site, I do it from multiple sites, because you can tell where the fake stuff comes, where the fake comments come in, and the real true comments and reviews come from the real people out there that have used the product. So until next time, stay strong, stay safe, question everything, and remember, I'm just a madman with the show.
Before you go, please comment, like, and share this video. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as this helps the reach of our channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have that ability to help support this and many other channels. especially now more than ever since the passing of a new law in the United Kingdom that will diminish the reach of many channels and affect our advertisers. If you wish to help grow this channel by financial support, you have two ways. There are two links in the description below. The first will send you to a pay site where you can make a monetary donation. The second will send you to our gear store where you can purchase t-shirt, mugs, and other specialty items. Any additional discounts will be listed on the main page. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.